What's up, guys? You're here for another episode of the Crappie Connection. Justin Berry.
Brad Chappell here.
And we have Robert Carlile. He is first time fishing crappie tournaments this year, right?
Yes, sir.
He's done very well. We're going to go over all that. And we have Brad Block with the founder of Rods for Warriors, correct?
I'm a co-chairman.
Co-chairman,
Yep.
There we go. So I'm going to start with you, Robert. You're closest to me. I got a big notes here. But what enthused me of me digging into you a little bit is that you first started this year fishing crappie trails, right?
I fished 2 tournaments last year in the Crappie Masters and then pursued the trail for real this year.
Yeah. So to give y'all guys...
I like when he said for real.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So just to give you a heads up about Robert here, he's now, this year alone, did I do my math right? You did 8 tournaments?
We fished 8 tournaments so far.
8 tournaments. Real quick, I want to go over this. Lake D'Arbonne, first place. Grenada Lake, second. Mississippi State Tournament, third. Lake Fork, 16th place. Lake Darnell, first. Lake of Ozarks, fell back a little bit there, 4th, but still good. Lake Eufaula in 9th, and Mark Twain, you just won, right?
I think we missed something in there. I've got 3 wins and 1 second place so far.
Yeah, 3 wins. Yeah,
Okay.
And 1 second place.
Sure.
That's right. That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. So how'd you get geared up for that, and what was your determination on all of it?
I've been a competitive shooter for years, so I knew what competition was about and how to pursue a dream. And when this started, it was just a new direction that I wanted to go. So when I started chasing it, I knew how much hard work it was going to be. And it is hard work. I spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week on the water. A week. Last week pre-fishing for Mark Twain, I between the first time I was on that lake and the time we fished the tournament and won it, I put 96 hours.
96 hours.
On the water.
Pre-fishing.
Pre-fishing, yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of hours.
That is daylight to dark.
That's determination.
That's determination. Yeah.
I'm not a better fisherman than anybody. In fact, I'm probably not as good a fisherman as people sitting at this table. But I'm hard-headed, and I work hard at it.
That's great. Now, Brad, what's your story?
I'm originally from Missouri. I grew up doing a lot of trout fishing. And
what part of Missouri are you from?
Jefferson City, Missouri.
Jefferson City?
Mm-hmm. We did a lot of trout fishing, me and my dad, in Bennett Springs State Park. And I think if you can get a trout to bite, you can get a crappie to bite. So this is my first. I'm just entered, some of the crappie trails, and I fished one of the Crappie Masters this year. Next year, me and my wife, we're gonna really catch more of the Crappie Masters events and do that as a husband-wife, male-female team. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite style of fishing, crappie fishing?
Single pole.
Single pole.
Single pole, or what they call it here is strolling.
Strolling.
Yep.
You know what I think of a stroller is?
Yeah.
I think a long line.
Yeah. No, you, Robert, are you what kind of
single pole?
Single
completely.
pole?
Yeah.
I got you. You know where Cape Giles is in Missouri?
I do.
I'm about 40 minutes south of there.
Oh, okay.
Right there around Sox, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
They throw them rolls at Lambert's.
Rolls.
Yeah, rolls.
Yeah.
We didn't know
Home of the
roads
thrown,
or
thrown rolls. Yep.
Be
Be careful, you get knocked out with some of the rolls.
They got
They're good, though.
big insurance policy down there. They get sued a lot over that. A lot.
New people walk in, they don't know.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Man, I don't even know where to start with you, Robert. Like, you just come in and just blew the doors out this past year.
That's why, when y'all got a hold of me, I wanted him to talk. So, pick his brain a little bit.
Well, what's your secret? Besides determination, is there anything that you're kind of dialed in on? Anything?
Determination's probably the number one thing. I talk to a lot of smart people. I have good friends, and I really try to listen to what people are telling me. I don't follow patterns necessarily that are what's going on a lake. I like to hear people tell me, well, I caught fish here last week. I don't care that I know that they're on flats this week or have been, should be in the middle of summer. They should be on flats relating to some kind of structure. That's going to be, as I'm going up to Truman, that's obviously a direction I'm going to go. But with that statement, if somebody says they're in the Willis, they're the ones that's fishing up there right now. So I get a lot of input from friends, and Crappie Masters allows us to talk to local bait shops and stuff like that before the tournaments. So I do that. I go in and I talk and I spend money with them. I support my local places like that. And with that, they give you some information, you know, and it may just be a little bit. And being smart enough not to ask them, well, where's your favorite spot, but being smart enough to go, well, what boat ramp would you put in at?
Yeah.
Because that's going to get you closer.
Right.
You know, and that's what I'm looking for. When you look at something like Truman is a huge lake. I don't know, 110,000 acres, something like that.
That's big.
It's massive, you know, and I've got to narrow it down and find fish in a week.
I can tell you where I fished about 9 years ago, probably where you don't want to go because I didn't do that well there, but I can tell you where not to go.
Where'd you go?
I fished by the Berry Bend area, I believe it was. And we're talking quite a few years ago. But, you know, I think one of the things I'm picking up from that is, you know, keep an open mind and keep trying things until something, you know, starts figuring out these patterns. And I'm sure that has to be a key of is actually listening to them.
I don't know what happened there. GoPro scared me.
I fished Truman over the July 4th weekend, and at that time it was 30 foot high. And like I was telling them before we started, you know, you're fishing in the woods, and you know, I got some of those pictures. And to scan a tree with leaves on it, it's really hard.
Sure.
You know, you can't tell what's down there. So I got on the bluff just south of the dam, and I mean, it's a huge bluff, real high. So the water can only go up and down. It can't, you know, extend in and out. And that's where I caught most of my crappie. Not anything big or anything, you know, like that, but that was my experience with Truman.
Yeah. I remember I lost a fishing pole. I was long lining at Truman Lake. Very much true. We were pulling out of the back, pulling jigs, and I lost a fishing pole in 70 foot of water. Look, I mean, I didn't have any idea that, you know, you'd have a piece of timber in 70 foot of water tall enough to yank a pole out of the boat, but it did.
That's a real tall
And I did
tree.
get my pole back. It was not easy, but I got that pole back.
Robert, is there, okay, anybody's asking anybody right now, is there a specific go-to, like if I step foot in your boat right now, is there a dedicated rod, line, lure, anything, or do you when you pre-fish, you mix it all up?
I mix it all up, but there are two things that will always be in my boat. There's going to be a purple and chartreuse hair jig, whether it's an 1/8 or a 1/4 ounce, but it'll always be tied on, ready to go. And then the other thing is I'll have a minnow rig every single time I go out. And I won't fish a tournament that they'll allow me to have live bait that I don't have minnows.
Yeah. So
Did you win this past one with minnows?
It was a big contributor. You know, these fish were stubborn this last week, and they really didn't want to bite. They would if you put something right in their face.
Right.
And they would short strike a rubber bait.
Right.
But with the minnow, in fact, Craig and I were fishing, and I told him, I said, this is the biggest fish that we've seen all week. We got to catch this fish. And it short struck a minnow. Then it short struck his jig, and so I've got a minnow that was about 1.5 inches long. You know, them ones that you normally don't want in there?
Right.
I hooked it on there, and I stuck it in front of his face, and it took 2 minutes, it seemed like. It finally just took the minnow and started off sideways, and I wait until I saw the line moving on before I would actually even set the hook. And it was 1.7 pounds. And for Twain, that's huge.
yeah, what kind of homework you do when you go to a new lake? Because I mean, do you use a lot of Google? Do you get any insight before you travel all them hours to there? Or?
Navionics is a big key to me. I've got it on my phone. I use their chip cards, so that makes a big difference. I get to see the water depths. I get to set colors as far as water depths that I'm targeting, beginning to see that. But really, I mean, Google, obviously, you know, I like structure. I like standing timber. Who doesn't like standing timber? Maybe, you know, long lining is not real
Yeah,
good,
I really
but
don't. No, I do now, but not
Yeah.
always in the
You
past.
try to read up on any fishing reports before you go?
no, I don't really pay any
You don't pay
attention.
no attention?
I haven't found that any of them are truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
every
that's
bait
what I
shop's
think.
going to tell you they're baiting.
I think they just, you know, put good reports out just to get people down there.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I think about it.
Yeah, that's good. Good point here. So, Brad, what made you start the Rods for Warriors?
So I was approached. The president's Thomas More, and the vice president's Robert Sanders. I was approached through Facebook because I work on base. I'm Air Force. I've been in
Currently active.
currently
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
13 years. So they approached me. I worked on base, so I could get the flyers out.
Yeah.
They wanted to get as many veterans to the tournaments that they were holding. So I knew a few people that could get some of the nonprofit paperwork done. So that was kind of my in, and we've been running with it since then. Our big target is, giving veterans a different coping mechanism, besides drugs and alcohol, and,
Right.
really falling off the deep end. So really our motto is, to take these veterans fishing, veterans helping veterans through fishing.
Now it's
Through
not just crappie fishing. From what I looked, it's all types of fishing, right?
That's right. Yep. We got 5 teams. We got one in Ohio, Colorado, and we got a new chapter, if you will, opening up in DFW. Me and Terry Mickens are the OKC area. We do a lot of the crappie fishing, and we got a bass team, a catfish team, and like I said, myself, the crappie team.
Like, tell us more really about it, and how does somebody else that's possibly listening, how would they get involved with it?
Yeah, that's a great question.
So we've done a lot of the work through Facebook and social media. If you contact us, through the Rods for Warriors page, all the admins, they're part of the ambassadors and part of our team. We're all listed on there. Get a hold of one of us. We tell people we're not guides.
Yeah.
We take you so you can relieve your military stresses or whatever, and we really target just about everybody. You don't have to be a disabled veteran. We'll take your family out, your kids out, parent, guardian.
I think that is such a great thing that, say if a guy's over in Europe or whatever, serving whatever country, and he has a son or daughter that would want to go fishing, they could contact you guys, and you
contact us, and
you would take that child out or whoever.
Yep.
Man,
that's why we have these
cool.
certain teams, because not everybody likes crappie fishing.
Yeah.
A lot of people like catfishing's big in Oklahoma. So we have catfishing teams. Have you heard of Chris Baldwin or any of them? They're big catfishermen here. They help us out as well. They just get a hold of us. We did get our website up and running.
What about different guys that would be wanting to become a team member for the Warriors for Rods organization? What would they need to do to become a team member? Say if somebody lived in Nashville or...
Really, contact us, and since we are a nonprofit, we do give out tax benefits. So those guides wouldn't be out, whatever gas, fuel, baits, and stuff like that. So we are federally recognized as a nonprofit, so we can, pass out these tax exemption forms. And I just held a crappie tournament, the 27th last month, and we had almost 5,000 in donations to raffle out.
Really? That's awesome.
And we gave them out $1 ticket, so you can. HH Rods and Reels was a big contributor. They were getting rods for $1.
Well, I can go ahead and say it from the president of my company here, Brad Chapel Guide Service, that I'm available in Mississippi. If a veteran or anybody that qualifies, you go fishing, contact me, and I'm ready.
All right.
Definitely for crappie.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about
catfish, bass, I'm probably not your guy. But, crappie, I can
Depends
quite
what day
set
it
them
is,
up.
huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Not on purpose.
That's awesome. Yeah.
No, do y'all make any products or anything?
No, we don't. We do hats and shirts. We do have some towels that are being made. Everybody needs towels on their boat.
Yeah.
So we're making towels. We do sell those. The money we put back into the organization. Like I said, we do tournaments, so we got real nice scales and everything like that. And really, our focus on the tournaments are to bring veterans from all over the state together. It's not about the everybody likes competition if you do tournaments, but it's about being there with everybody, talking,
being social,
relieving
sharing
the
some
stress, stories, things like that. it's good for veterans because
Yeah.
of the daily stresses that we go through.
Right.
And you find when we take people out on the water, the ride to the lake is kind of quiet,
Yeah.
and you're just trying to get the conversation going. But after you hang that first fish,
Right.
Open gates.
oh yeah,
Open gates,
everybody
man.
they just start talking, and then you can kind of get some things that they're dealing with out, and if you just got something on your mind,
Yeah.
it's easy to get off your
And
chest.
it's, even when I don't guide our tournament fish, I still go fishing just, like
Oh,
you said,
yeah.
to relieve the everyday
Mhm.
stress of life that we all have in some form and fashion. But
Mhm.
like I said, I'm ready to jump on board on that end on my side.
Yeah, let's
what I can
definitely
do.
talk afterward. That'd be
Hey, I'm there.
awesome.
It's in I wouldn't say black and white, but I guess it's on the hard drive. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many have you shown up? How many has showed up? What's the biggest you've had so far? At one event.
Well, so our first one was the catfish tournament was pretty big. We had this last crappie tournament doing. We had 21 boats, and I
that's a
think
good turnout.
at the end we had donation for food trucks, and like I said, all of our rods and reels and stuff like that were donated. I think there was about 60 to 70 people at the weigh-in.
That's a good turnout.
And we just
What city was that in?
it was at Eufaula.
You follow?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So next year, since the good turnout, I'm going to talk with Mike Valentine and see if we can either incorporate something with their Eufaula tournament, because they do a lot of stuff for the cops. They have a tournament that the local police benefit from, and I'd like to try to incorporate that, or
Yeah, most definitely.
or like how they do on Lake Fork, the Crappie Fest. You've heard of Crappie Fest, and either do it the weekend prior to the Eufaula Crappie Masters. To get these veterans out amongst some of these, the tournament fishermen, pick their brain, and talk to them, and things like that. Another thing we do provide, we help with the VA system. My wife is really, really knowledgeable about
I've heard
the VA.
that she's one that really loves crappie fishing just as much as you do. Huh?
Really?
I don't know. If you follow me on Facebook and the pages, she gives me a lot of crap.
What kind of crap she give you?
Just trolls me or whatever. and,
Trolls, I like
that. Yeah. So I don't know. She's awesome. She really is awesome. But yeah, we also teach, how to rig something up, or your baits, or
Some stuff simple
Something
that they
that-
don't know
yeah,
about.
yeah. Something if
It
they're
is-
wanting to get into it and use it as a stress relief. H&H Rods and Reels is one of our sponsors, and he will Eric Howard and Leanne will donate a rod and reel to a crappie fisherman that we take out. So they can use the knowledge they gain with us,
Yeah.
and don't have to rely on us. They can go and do it on their own, and we provide some equipment.
Have you seen anybody
That's cool.
just come in and just go full blown with it yet? Like as much as we're all ate up with it?
No, I almost have a bass guy converted though.
Really?
Yes, I do. And I got a
Put that
story.
little feather in your
Yeah.
cap.
I got a story on that. His father contacted me. He just went through a breakup, and he was real down, things like that. And he was like, you take my son out fishing. He needs to get this off his chest, just get away. It's like, yeah, I can do that. He was a young guy. We went out to Eufaula, real windy day. It was probably 15-mile-an-hour wind, and I was like, man, this is gonna be bad.
Right.
This is gonna be tough. And we ended up, at the time, we had our 2-man limit at probably 1 in the afternoon.
How many is that again?
That don't sound very tough, does it?
No.
74 fish,
Yeah.
because it's
37 apiece.
37 apiece.
That's an odd number to be a limit, you know?
Mhm.
I don't
So we had a
understand
two-man limit by, I would say, about 1. I called my buddy that I fish with a lot, and I was like, hey, you got to come on. Like, this bite is unreal. You got to come fishing. So he called his boss and said, hey, can I take off a little bit? So we had 111 fish by 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and he was just tickled pink. And like I said, the ride there was kind of quiet. I was trying to get him to talk, open up.
that. Yeah.
We did not stop talking about the whole day, the whole ride. I live in OKC, so it was a 2.5-hour ride back home. And, he calls and texts me all the time.
Oh, yeah.
When are we going to go fishing again, So our next Rods for Warriors tournament is a bass tournament. He's a bass guy. well, I'm gonna go, fishing with him.
That's
Don't
awesome.
go that way.
No.
Don't go to that side.
Don't go to the dark side.
Like I
man.
said, I'm still trying to convert it
Yeah.
this way. So maybe
Gotta
if the
go
bass
right.
bite ain't good, we'll do some crappie fishing.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, that is awesome.
So yeah, it's just giving back to your community. It's my wife, she's a disabled veteran, so I'm not, and this is my way to give back to them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's
Sure.
greatly cool. Appreciate all that.
Mhm.
Now, y'all single pole a lot. This is for both of y'all. 'Cause I've done it in the past. Have you ever woke yourself up middle of the night setting that hook? Look, have you done
yeah.
it, Robert?
No.
You haven't done that yet?
No.
What about you,
No,
Brad?
I watched a lot of this Crappie Connection. I think it was you talking about it like the first time you got live scope and you're watching. You can see it in your dream. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
first day that I got, my wife got it for me.
Everybody listen now.
Yeah.
If you have a wife, you need to get her
I'll tell you some secrets
board
on
with
that too.
one.
Yeah.
So
Dude, take some notes.
first, so the first day we were out on the water, me and my buddy Ryan White.
You say Ron White?
Ryan White.
Oh, okay.
No, Ron White.
Oh,
That'd be
dang,
cool.
man. We're here to
That'd
talk
be
to
cool.
him.
We probably fished for 7-8 hours, figured it out pretty good, and I went to sleep that night, and all I could see was the jig falling down in the water, and then just and I was, doing this, and I was like, waking myself up, and I was like, no, this can't be this live scope is pretty cool.
I
but-
gotta take it back.
but yeah, if I can't sleep, I don't know if I can have it on the boat, But yeah, so.
I've done it a few times. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. Or a little, hit on your elbow or something, and
Yeah, a little tap.
Oh, yeah.
That's Kevin
Yeah.
Rogers.
Uh-huh.
Buddy Kevin, remember he saying he was going to the grocery store or something?
Somebody tapped him or something, didn't
Mhm.
Yeah, and he set the rod on the...
No, his cart hit his elbow.
Yeah.
And he just, I don't know what he did, but he
Yeah.
just tried to set the hook on it.
That was Kevin talking about that.
Man.
Now, Robert, we're going to talk about the
The Oklahoma Crappie Anglers Club.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Tell us a little bit about that guy and the club itself.
We just got started this year. We didn't have anything in Oklahoma. We had a few years back. There was a club kind of got started but never got formalized, and somehow or another it fell apart. So we didn't have anything in Oklahoma for tournament angling, and I decided we just needed to do it. A friend of mine, Richard Ingram, and I, we got started with it. We recruited some more guys, and first of this year, we actually formed an official club. The state of Oklahoma, we're a nonprofit organization. So we're the real deal now. I don't know how else to put that.
Yeah.
We have checkbook and all that kind of stuff.
How many members
and
you
stuff.
got?
Right now, we got 121.
121 members.
Yeah.
That's pretty thick.
How many tournaments are you having a year?
We're having 7 tournaments a year plus what we call our classic or our championship. So 8. In fact, we're having one tomorrow in Carlile Lake.
yes, we are.
Boats?
Both.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Are you fishing together or both?
No. I'll be fishing by myself. I've never been on the lake, but
Yeah,
It's-
good way to learn it.
Yeah.
Fishing tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I started fishing tournaments, just local tournaments, Magnolia Crappie Club, which is a giant crappie club in its standards. But, fishing tournaments and going to these different lakes and creating these bonds between each other is invaluable in my mind. So, hats off at starting a crappie trail out here for all these guys.
And one thing I do want to say is because there's going to be people hear this, see this, that want to know a little bit more about our club is,
Yeah.
of course, we have a website. It's okcrappie.com. We're on Facebook. But the big thing is this isn't just a tournament trail. We want more than that. We're trying to build a club to where we have relationships. We're doing activities together, whether it be putting brush in a lake or having a cookout. We're growing. We're going to be trying to do some stuff for some other nonprofits to help them out, fundraisers and stuff like that. We're just growing. We're brand new. We're literally 9 months old, but we're having great success, and we're going to have a lot of good times. We're got a really good tournament trail right now.
What are some of the rules that you have in place for your tournaments? Is it, 8 poles, trolling's allowed, live bait?
I was only familiar really with the Crappie Masters when I got started, so I copied the rules. I talked to Mike about that. He said that would be fine. We just modified those to become the Oklahoma rules. So there's a few little changes. One of the things that we've implemented this year is we have 2 divisions. live scope division or an open division and a traditional division, because there's so many people who out there still want to fish, but they can't compete with the technology.
That's a great idea. It's a great idea. A lot of skeptical out there amongst with the live scope and people who don't have it and all that. So I think that's a great idea, going, the division with or without.
Yeah, like you said, I think it'll definitely help it grow, because, like you said, competing against live scope, that's tough. It's tough, and this will help everybody come that think they don't have a chance, but now they have something to compete in.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the only way to get better is kind of like Robert. Jumped right in the major leagues there and doing really, really well with it for sure.
Well, technology is a huge deal on that, and if you choose not to use it, you shouldn't be penalized for that, though. You ought to be able to still come out and fish, because that's what we want. We want everybody. It's really a family deal. If we can get more people out. Tomorrow we're doing call, but in 2 weeks we have one on Skytook, and it's a youth oriented. So we'll have 3 people. You can have up to 3 people in the boat. One of them being a kid, someone under 16. They fish for free basically, but their weights count. If they catch the big fish, then they win.
Okay, well, how much is your entry fees?
$60.
$60. It's all given back.
Yes, we pay out 100% on the big fish that day. We pay out 80% of all the income for that day, and then the 20% that's left over goes to the year end. We have a point series that we're running, so we have 20% pot that's going into that.
What kind of tips can you give out since you just started this year? If somebody's wanting to go into tournament fishing, what's the number one tip that you can give them? Because anybody's going to do any kind of research right now on you right now, they're going to notice, man, what kind of tip can you give them?
There's so many.
What's your number one?
Buy live scope.
Huh? Gosh, that's so hard. You put me on the spot with that one.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
The number one tip, work twice as hard as you think that you need to.
Like 96 hours pre-fishing. For sure.
It really is. People don't understand. They don't have a tournament mentality.
Yeah. Daylight till dark.
It is. It depends on what you want out of it.
Yeah.
I want a success out of it. If your success is measured in having fun and meeting and camaraderie and all of that, then that's a different game. But mine was measured in physical success. That first place.
That's a great point.
So it's all in what you want to get out of it, and I think that you need to have some clearly defined goals if you're what you're wanting out of it, because it's just like a marriage, to be real honest. So I put a lot more work into this than I do in my marriage at this point, being married for going on 15 years.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of commitment. It takes a good family that's willing to support that.
Absolutely.
I got home Got home Sunday morning, stayed a week, worked, leaving tonight, where as soon as I leave here, I'm going to call to run that tournament, and then I leave for Truman for a week. Then I come home on Sunday, and then next Friday I leave for Truman again.
What do you do for a living?
I own a machine shop.
You own a machine shop?
Yeah.
Wish I owned something so I can go fishing all
That's
the time.
what
like
I
that.
tell my wife. I was like, we need to start a business so we
know,
can,
right?
so I can take some time off and we can do this.
What can I figure out to fish more? That's what I need to do. I'm sitting there Xing out my vacation days at work right now. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I can do that with the family. Go from that.
22 years of doing the same thing, running that machine shop, I've acquired some really good people. I've found, they've came to work for me that they give me the ability to do this, and I appreciate them. That's just in case they're watching.
Yeah.
That's right. That's why he said about the marriage in the beginning. Make sure you covered that base.
Yeah. There's so much, and that's just where I'm at in my life right now, and it may lead into something, it may not lead into something, but I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing right now. So.
I've got a fishing question, I guess, more or less. And I asked just about everybody the same question, so you probably already heard it before. But what is your favorite month? And it goes for both you guys, Brad and
February.
That was quick.
Yeah.
No doubt.
February.
Big fish, easy to catch.
Probably for me, November. I like as pretty much as equal as dip and timber. I like the drop-offs. I like strolling along, creeks and stuff like that, and really picking off the big suspended fish.
Right. When you say strolling, I want you to go into that, because I know the term and I know the technique, but I'm sure a lot of guys, when you're saying strolling, they're not really sure what you're talking about when you
I
say
well,
strolling.
okay, yeah. So I call it the Oklahoma stroll.
Right.
Me and my
What?
partner.
Oklahoma stroll?
Yeah, like a little dance, I guess.
Okay.
Me and my partner stand at the front of the boat, and we're just two poling down brake lines and stuff like that.
What is your
And,
typical setup when you're strolling?
So I run two 12 HH pushing rods, and this is unorthodox or out of the ordinary. But I run 17-pound test bonehead mono, and I'll have a 1/8 up top and a 1/4 on the bottom. And
How
from
far apart?
Probably, well, it really depends on the fish. Now with live scope, I can really hone it in on where the bigger ones are hanging and the next size. Normally it's probably foot and a half apart from each other, and we just run bank lines.
What's your
and
beta choice?
Bonehead tackle.
Which one?
Definitely. Wintertime.
Yeah.
They're 3-inch slim stick.
Color.
Just keep
Probably-
it going, Brad. Just keep
Yeah.
it going, man.
Purple.
Got him
and-
on it.
Purple and chartreuse. That's a good color here in
Paradise.
Oklahoma.
Okay, my turn. My
Or
turn.
grapevine is
Grapevine,
what they,
yeah, that's what it is.
All
Yep.
right, my turn. Why 17 pound?
I got a mean hook set.
You mean?
Oh,
Well, I just shook your hand a while ago, and you got a mean handshake. I'll tell you that right now.
I got a well, we've been
How many rods? have you-
Robert and I were talking and
I need to get a workout
looking
room.
for some jig heads that can handle the hook set. And,
Really?
He's been developing one with Big Daddy lures, and they got a
We
good
got a
product.
Let's talk about
catfish
that.
hook on there.
Uh-huh.
Can you get us a little feed on that?
A little bit. We're just about there. We're still playing with some hooks and stuff, but basically it's
Brad broke them all up.
Is that what it's getting made for his main hook set?
that's it.
Really?
No. I've been looking for something. I fish bonehead also, but anybody who fishes these small baits, Bobby Garlands for one, they have a tendency to split out up on the collar. Anytime you push a big collar into them, they have a tendency to split out. The baits aren't bad; they just won't stay on the hook anymore. And so we're trying to figure out. We're doing a couple things. One is a screw head, and everybody's familiar with what a screw head is and the way they go on. But we're playing with that. But trying to develop it, staying away from some of the bass size stuff, but getting it into the crappie. And so that's one of our big things that we're doing. And I know other people are doing it. It's not top secret or anything else.
Right.
It's just that there's no one around here doing it. We don't have a source for them. So
And who are you making that with again?
Big Daddy Bait and Tackle.
Big Daddy Bait and Tackle. When can we expect it? you think?
I think he's got them in stock right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just picked up a few last week.
Out
2
of
weeks
Locust
ago.
Grove,
What,
Oklahoma.
what sizes are they?
2/0 hooks. We run 1/8 and quarters.
I like big hooks.
Big hooks, big
And I
weights.
cannot
That's-
lie.
Yeah, I like them too.
And you cannot lie.
That's right.
And like Robert said earlier, I like supporting your local businesses, small guys, things like that. So when he told me about him, because I knew his type of fishing, and so I was trying to pick his brain a little bit, and because he was winning, and yeah, he told me about him. He said, try them out, let me know what you think, and I used them the last tournament that we had at Eufaula, and they're working great. We probably
Sickle
caught.
hook or just regular shaft?
It's actually an Eagle Claw. I don't remember the model of it that we're running right now, but an Eagle Claw hook, but it's not a sickle. Just a light wire hook, light enough that you can still bend it if you get hung up, but stout enough that it'll handle Brad.
Right.
I'm stuck on this 17-pound test. What pound test line you use?
12
12? Mono, braid?
mono.
Mono? Okay. All right.
Yeah, for single pull and single jig, I run a 20-pound braid, in the trees. So
I got you.
Pull up the,
Yeah.
pull up the tree.
Yeah. That mean
Yeah.
handshake. God. I'm have to get in the workout room and pump some iron or something. Is there anything else y'all want to add before we trying to close out here?
Oh, you talking about your marriage and stuff. I got a tip for all the guys out there.
All right.
If you want to do fishing a lot and go fishing a lot, what my wife says is bring home dinner or have dinner planned when you get home.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's my
That-
tip.
that's
so
a
I
tip.
That is a good tip.
Because
Yep.
we got two, I got 2 boys, a 2.5-year-old and a newborn. It's almost 3 months, and she's like I said, she's an awesome woman, and I get to go fishing quite a bit. So that's one thing she said: bring home dinner, or take me out when you
Yeah.
get home. So
Yeah,
that's my secret
absolutely.
for everyone.
What you, Robert?
I finally got an answer to your question.
Which
the,
one is it?
The number one, the most important
Okay.
thing. So, probably the number one thing that I can say that I do is I don't do what everybody else does. I don't fish in the same spots for the most part. This last weekend I was around other anglers, but it's probably the first tournament I've ever fished that I've had people around me. I was fishing Grenada this year. You know, the water was up 25 foot.
Still is.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to that tournament in a month. But the fish, the spawn was starting. They were wading around in Grenada, catching them things up in the timber, and we couldn't reach them as tournament
They only
anglers.
catching males up there, or was it females up there?
I don't know what they were catching, to be honest, because they were in the woods and I couldn't get there, and I didn't care about those fish. But Paul Turner ended up winning the tournament. He got first place. He said he was fishing in 2 foot of water, and basically the weeds were so thick that he couldn't move. You know, he was stuck in one spot basically for an 8-hour day and ended up winning the tournament. But I was fishing in 40 foot of water on brake lines on the main channel. You know, and so there wasn't anybody around me. You know, Mike Valentine brought the video camera around because we done well on the first day, so he wants to film us. And when he showed up, he said, "Nobody fishes over here."
Really?
He says, "I've never seen anybody
So you
here."
did the same as you did on your first day, you did your second?
Yeah.
I got you.
Because nobody else was fishing the pattern. There wasn't, you know, the fish weren't touched at all except for by us.
That's probably a big pre-spawn. They wouldn't even think about spawning yet that deep.
Mm-hmm.
Is that championship
Yep.
next week or next month?
The championship on Grenada is
Towards the end of September.
September. Yeah, the end of September. So,
25th through 28th.
but don't get hung up on what everybody else is saying. Don't say, you know, if it's strolling or if it's single poling.
So
or
you keep to yourself. Is
I-
that what I'm trying to? That's what the vibe I'm getting from you, pretty much. Like, do you kind of exit your way around everybody else? Keep to yourself with it. You just go with what you know. You're not listening to all the gossip coming on.
Exactly. I'm looking for the pattern myself. You know, I'm doing the work. I'm figuring out what the fish are doing. And I say that I single pole. I've got spider rigging stuff set up. That man right over there, Brian, you know, he's actually took me out and taught me how to do this a little bit. I'm not great at it, but I can. You know, and who would go to Grenada without taking 8 poles? I mean, you're silly if you don't.
Yeah.
So I have other tools, but the tool that I choose to use is a single pole, and that's the way that I go about it. But places that you go, don't get hung up on what everybody else is saying is working. Go do what you do. If you fish brush piles or if you fish, you know, dock shooting or whatever it is, pursue that.
Yeah, your confidence.
Exactly. That's probably the most important thing.
Yeah. Real quick, fun question. What's your bucket list like?
Bucket list?
Bucket list like?
I don't know if I want to give it out right now.
Huh? Oh, he's done found something, hadn't he, Brad?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, my bucket list lake right now is probably Arca-Butler.
Everybody's saying it.
I hear that's a good lake. Haven't ever been on it. Sardis is, of course, right there. We're going to be making a trip down there between Christmas and New Year's, so I'll find out how that lake is.
Is that Arca-Butler the one you didn't want to say?
Hmm?
Is Arca-Butler the one you didn't want to say?
That one will work.
That one worked? What about you, Brad?
I'd probably right now Grenada. I qualified for the championship this last Eufaula tournament up here for the Crappie Masters. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try single poling or strolling down there. That's what I know. Like you're saying, that's what I know how to do.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do. And
It's a great lake.
yeah, I'm gonna try it. If not, then you know whatever I just learned. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Not to spend more money, get more poles.
Is there anything else you want to add, Brad
man.
Chapel?
Great time. Appreciate both of you guys today. Looking forward to doing it again with you guys on the water or in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, thank you.
Well, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Check us out. Subscribe to us on YouTube, the iTunes podcast, Facebook. Follow that. Other than that, I'm Justin Berry,
Brad Chapel.
and we'll see y'all later.
Holla.
About a mile from Big Muddy River, a place I'll always remember. Cabin on the lake and a fishing pole. Forever here I'll rest my soul. I can feel my worries drift away.